Hello, and welcome to Self-Care is Sexy. My name is Chris, and I'll be your host. We're a podcast that's here to generate and share self-care ideas with each other. Last episode, I gave you some of the obstacles that we might face when it comes to self-care and talked about ways to get better. If you feel like you suck at self-care, check out this past week's episode of ways that you can really change how you do self-care. I want to give you a quick preview of what to expect from today's show. Today, I've got 5 easy self-care ideas that you can do in 5 minutes or less. So, if you've got the busiest day ever this week, or just want to get your self-care and get going, I've got you covered. But first, a few quick housekeeping notes. If you are local to the Portland area and you're listening in real time, I want to personally invite you out to next week's Keeping It Classy, a comedy drag show at Escape Bar and Grill off of Northeast Sandy Boulevard. The show is Friday, January 21st, starting at 9 p.m. Tickets are $15 pre-sale and $20 at the door. Of course, proof of vaccination is required. You know, laughter is the best form of self-care, so make sure you get your tickets early. This show will sell out. And I do want to let you know that the event is sponsored by the Rogue Apostles radio show. Okay, so for today, I've got 5 very easy, very simple, very doable ways that you can get some self-care in under 5 minutes. While this episode is specifically for my listeners out there who have got so much going on, I think that you're going to find that if you actually try out some of these ideas this week, you're naturally going to want to keep going or do more because self-care makes you feel good. And if you've not been feeling very good lately about yourself, these tips are really going to work, and they might just make you want a little bit more. So give yourself permission to do more than one of these ideas, or do them all, or do them over and over and over again, because you deserve to feel better. Now, before I get to these 5 tips, I want to mention that no matter what self-care you're going to do, whether it's 5 minutes, a half an hour, an entire spa day, you've really got to start with changing how you think about yourself. Too many of us have a constant shitty self-view. Don't give ourselves a break. And we really beat ourselves up for not being perfect, or we feel like we can never do anything right. And that sucks. It just feels like crap. That's not going to make us want to do self-care. But when you think good things about yourself, when you have your own back and you really make yourself your top priority, you're going to naturally want to do self-care. It becomes routine. It's something that you make time for, and it's something that you think about. But again, your thoughts about yourself, about who you are, about how you show up in this world, that's really going to drive whether or not you're going to actually do the self-care that I've been talking about. So when I'm going through these tips today, I want you to listen for the ways that you can start to change how to think better about yourself. Because that is always going to be the key as to whether or not you're actually going to do self-care or not. When you're working on yourself, when you're trying to better yourself, it's easy to think about what's wrong or what needs to be changed. You know, in January, everywhere you look, there's ads for gym memberships and diets and juice cleanses and ways to completely radically change your life. And working on yourself should never feel urgent. It should never feel like a complete change from what you're already doing. It should feel doable. But I want you to know that you can figure this out. You can figure out self-care. You can figure out what it is you need to do on a daily basis to help you feeling better about yourself and having a more positive outlook. You can figure this out. You know, I'm just some random person with a podcast who has talked to a lot of people about self-care. And the reason I have this show, the reason I made this my own purpose, is because it's something I have always struggled with. And as someone who has been almost forced by, doing the show to really look at self-care and really make these things a priority, I want to give you that hope that you can figure it out. And that in figuring out what you need to do for self-care this week, making it a priority and following through, that it has so many positive benefits. It will change your life. It's going to give you so much freedom. And it really is not that hard. It's not a lot of work. It doesn't cost a lot of money. You just have to be intentional. So what if you want to feel better and you want to get into the habit of really caring for yourself, but you're super busy and you have so much going on? Well, friends, I am living proof that you can take 5 minutes for self-care. So I've got 5 different ways that you can get the self-care in less than 5 minutes. Number 1, wash your face. You can use the Biore nose strips like a face mask, or you can even get one of those face steamers. This takes less than 5 minutes to put one of those strips on or apply a face mask. And the face steamer, it's like $25 at Walmart. And this just makes you feel so fancy. It clears out all your pores, and it's something you can do at any time. You are worth the time it takes to put on a Biore strip or a face mask or to sit in front of the face steamer. You are worth the time it takes because you are a beautiful and strong person. And you deserve your own time and energy and effort because of everything you do for other people. Number 2, light a scented candle or incense, or get, those little scentsy wax burning things. Now, this is something I do for myself every single day. I'm working from home in this dingy basement, and I often light either the Palo Santo stick or some white sage, and I actually have one of those little light switch wax burner thingies going all day long, because aromatherapy is one of the most powerful self-care things you can do for yourself. It seems very minuscule, but making your environment pleasing to yourself is a way that you can really train your brain to know that you care about yourself, that you care about how your environment is for you, and have it be a place of relaxation. And nothing gets you there better than a pleasing smell. Number 3, make your schedule for tomorrow. Planning your day or writing it down is a super major act of self-care. You're doing basically 3 things at once with this tip. In the act of creating the schedule itself, you're telling your brain that you're worthy of thinking about. And in the thinking ahead of what you're going to be doing tomorrow, you're actually saying whatever's coming up for me is important. I'm worth planning for. Knowing what I have going on or knowing what's coming up gives me ease and peace. And I do this, I make a plan every single day of what I'm going to eat. This is part of the No BS weight loss. Every day you make a 24-hour plan of what you're going to eat for that day. And what it does is it gives you some certainty. Making time for yourself to plan ahead, it gives you the feeling of control. It also cares about future you who might be tired and not really sure of what's next or what they need to do next and might be feeling overwhelmed. Well, taking the time to make that schedule for tomorrow, making your plan, is really doing yourself, your future self, a favor, which is an incredible act of self-care. Number 4, make a wellness appointment. Now, I'm talking about just making the appointment itself. That part takes less than 5 minutes. And what this act of self-care does, that one little step, it just makes it easier to see that you really are worth taking this time for. Now, it doesn't have to be anything sexy. It can be super mundane, like scheduling your yearly physical appointment with your primary care doctor. It's about that time of year. Or getting your mammogram scheduled. Some other wellness ideas that you can make an appointment for are like the chiropractor, the dentist. Maybe it's time to schedule a therapy session. acupuncture, reflexology, any of those things. Now, I know this can seem super overwhelming for a lot of people, especially if you don't have these kinds of primary care doctors set up or you don't have a therapist already set up. But you can take 5 minutes out of your day to find one. There are so many resources, and you want to switch your thinking around, this is so overwhelming, I can't do it, I can't afford it. All of those thoughts are going to prevent you from getting the self-care you really need. What you really need to think about is, what can you do? How can you make a wellness appointment for yourself today? Even if that appointment is, I'm going to schedule 30 minutes of I don't do anything. Mommy's not available right now. That is just as impactful as scheduling a massage. And number 5, last but not least, in my 5 ways to get self-care in under 5 minutes, I want you to make 5 minutes time to read. More often than not, you have 5 minutes for self-care. It's just that you might be choosing something else instead. How you choose to escape from that is going to determine if you're really taking care of yourself or just numbing out, which is no good. Numbing out just kicks the can down the road, and it teaches your brain that you don't think you're worth your own time. So just find 5 minutes to read a good book and just check out of the world for a moment. Give yourself the gift of rest, relaxation, and removal from all the bullshit that's been going on, even if that bullshit is your own mind. I'm going to run through that list one more time. Number 1, wash your face. Number 2, light a scented candle. Number 3, make your plan for tomorrow. Number 4, make a wellness appointment. And number 5, read. Now, I know that you can find 5 minutes in your day to devote to taking care of yourself. Whether it's journaling or sitting quietly on the couch with a cup of tea or petting your animal or going for a quick walk around the block. Whatever it is, I want you to make time today, no matter when you're listening to this show. It could be late at night, it could be early in the morning, it could be on your drive to work. I want you to make it a priority that today, before you go to sleep, you are going to make 5 minutes of time all about attending to you. Because the energy that you've been giving to everyone else around you and the efforts that you're putting into doing what you're supposed to, going to work, paying the bills, making sure everything else is in order, you have the right and the responsibility to give that same effort to yourself because you are worthy of it. You're worthy of that. And one thing, if you really want to do like some extra credit self-care homework this week, I want you to start thinking about and keeping a list of why you're worthy of your own time. Why are you the top priority in your life? Because what this exercise is going to do, and we'll have a podcast on this, breaking it down later, but this small act of self-care, of just determining and coming up with all of the reasons why you're worthy of your own time and you're worthy of being the top priority in your life, it's going to help your brain start looking for what's right about you. Because the major reason we're all doing self-care or trying to make self-care the priority is because we're not feeling good. We're not feeling like we have control over our own lives. And if self-care is not something that comes natural to you, then you're going to have to do a little bit of thought work, a little bit of scheduling, a little bit of effort until your brain flips the switch and then makes it a constant priority, to where you will just wake up one day and the first thoughts will be, what can I do today for myself? How can I carve out some time for me? I haven't done yoga in a while. What's one way I can get that on the books today? Those kinds of thoughts will start to happen naturally as you start to do these little practices that I've been talking about. All right, friends, that's it for this week. Thank you for joining me. If you have a story you'd like to share and you want to be on the show, please email me. It's Chris, Kris, at selfcareissexy.com. Okay, we've got some really great content coming your way, so stay tuned. And remember,